Newsflash to nobody, RVs aren't necessarily perfect. And it seems like a lot of dealership groups and a lot of the marketing out there doesn't want to talk about the ugly side of the RV industry, the service side of things. So today, I'm going to do exactly the opposite. I want to talk about what actually are the most common faults and problems encountered on RVs. What are the things that are most statistically likely to fail? And how can you be aware of them? How can you help get them fixed faster? What can you look for when you're shopping for an RV, whether it's from a dealership or a private individual? I've got actual statistics that we've broken down across the industry from an independent third-party source, and we said we're going to share them with you. I don't know of anyone else that is actually publishing any sort of warranty claim repair data, and I thought we'd be one of the first to try to do it. So if you appreciate how we're pulling the curtain back and giving you a candid look at things, hit the subscribe button and let's get started. And real quick, just to establish some baseline data here, how long are we talking? I'm like your average RV factory-backed warranty repair in the nation. It does vary a little bit by region, as you can kind of see from this map right here. But to give you a short answer, too freaking long. You know, when you are talking on average, somewhere between 2 to 3 months for a typical RV warranty repair, it's ridiculous. You're making 2 or 3 payments on something you can't even use, especially if that causes you to miss peak season travel time. It's ridiculous. So what kind of things are actually causing this? And as we dive into these, I think we've already put some disclaimers on screen, but keep in mind, the actual hard percentages and stuff we're looking at today is information that we sourced from a third party and made available to you. It may ebb and flow, it may shift over time, but the general trends of what will be hit on in this video will persist. But the number one reported by volume warranty-based item is kind of a combination of things: woodworking, cabinetry, fit and finish, basically. So like little trim work like this. That's the most commonly addressed common warranty complaint, if you will, however you want to phrase it. The number one thing by volume that we usually have to work on. And it thankfully isn't something that will cripple the RV, but it's really frustrating, the thing that this industry does. Like if you think of building an RV like a 100-yard football field run, the industry is fairly decent at getting down the first 90 yards. It's the last 10 yards, the last 10% of what you of the RV's construction that you see as a customer that sucks on way too high of a rate. And I think it's because the people who tend to do this small work tend to be a newer employee who maybe isn't quite as skilled or hasn't been brought into the company and onboarded and trained. They're kind of learning as they go. And as dumb as it sounds, getting like replacement trim or wallboard strips, like the tape that matches the wallboard where 2 pieces of wallboard meet up, it's insane how long that stuff takes. So even though it's only a cosmetic item, like, well, you can keep camping, it's only cosmetic, it still is an absolute headache to get resolved for somebody. Now, unlike the number one by volume category, which is cabinet, fit, finish, woodworking, stuff that doesn't cripple the RV, it just annoys the life out of you. Because, like, let's be real, you paid real money and a lot of it for this RV. You didn't pay for it to come with some assembly required. You didn't want to have to put up a wooden batten strip. I get it. I'm not trying to sugarcoat that. But that doesn't cripple the RV trip. What can cripple the RV trip, though, is the number 2 most common warranty item, and that is appliances. But which appliances are most likely to give you the biggest headache? Again, we don't want to pull any punches. So here's the data. We felt it would be best serving you to just list it right out there. And again, sometimes these percentages, which object appears in which order, can shift a little bit. But for the most part, what you're looking at over here is the ordering rank of the thing most likely to cause you to lose some camping time. So those might be things where if you're an RV shopper, maybe looking into, like this happens to be a Furrion versus a Magic Chef or a GE fridge, figuring out which brands of appliances maybe have a little bit better warranty rates would be a good thing. I don't have that data available right now. It's another thing I'm working to break out. I don't really have a source that gives it to me in that format, but it is something that we're working on. We always want you to know the real about this, because again, it's true whether you buy from us or not. We just want to educate you as a consumer. Now, our number three by volume kind of warranty item feels very related to appliances, but it's more of something supporting appliances, and it's effectively the electrical category. So, whether it's a wiring issue, whether something's not wired properly, whether something wiggled loose, if somebody drove a staple through a wiring bundle in a wall while hanging something up, which is an annoying and very real thing that happens, or if it's like a circuit panel, those sorts of things like a control board, those electrical items are your number three overall by volume challenge with RVs, which is one of the reasons that historically I thought it was really neat to have all kinds of fancy technology in RVs. But you know what I found? Sometimes simply works. And statistically, the less electronic crap you have in your camper, the more likely you are to be able to enjoy it and stay out of the shop. So keep that in mind. Coming up, number four on our list, another thing that if the system fails could potentially cripple your entire camping trip and cause a widespread other issue is plumbing. If you have a plumbing problem, water is like one of the number one enemies of RVs. If you have plumbing fail, which means you typically have a leak, that can quickly spread to become a very, very massive issue. Now, what are you looking for right here? Historically, through a lot of the RV industry, you'd see a lot of PEX plumbing, but you would sometimes also see, and you'll still see if you go looking, what I call flex on PEX, a flexible water hose fitted to a PEX fitting. There are potential problems with this. In theory, it works fine. I'm not trying to defend it because I know a lot of people really don't like this. I'm not trying to gloss over this. In theory, it works fine. Frankly, if you open the hood of your vehicle, a lot of times you have a flex hose attached with a clamp system on a high pressure radiator system. And this is a low pressure RV water system, where the idea that flex and PEX really became a problem happened primarily during the pandemic production period. Although, again, I am not trying to say, it's okay, don't worry about it. I think you should always purchase according to your peace of mind. But here's why this discussion bloomed up in more recent years. It was largely a supplier-based error that became a massive black eye for the RV industry. For the 99th time, I'm not saying you should ignore people who say flex on PEX isn't a good thing. Buy according to your peace of mind. But what happened during the pandemic period is a lot of things ran into a supply shortage. In North America, we typically run on empirical sized units, inches, not millimeters or whatever. Well, a supplier ran out of the 1-inch water hose or whatever the actual measurement was. So what they did is they substituted that with no notice to anybody else with a metric that was almost exactly the same size. And their logic was, well, by the time there's a pressure clamp put on this hose, it should work fine. The problem was the metric hose was just slightly bigger. And when it crimped, it would create, when you squeezed it, it created like a little bump pocket where water could start dripping its way out of there at a not okay rate. You know, not like a little bit, but enough that it would cause a major issue. And that was distributed to so many RV suppliers. And that's where a lot of the idea that flex on PEX is something you should absolutely avoid. And again, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm helping give you the background and the information here so that you can make a proper decision. More and more brands are now adopting full PEX on PEX. But keep in mind, there are little areas sometimes in an RV where some variety of flex line is absolutely required by by plumbing code. Like you cannot have a hard PEX line coming off a water pump, but there are essentially braided flexible hoses with pre-made screw-on adapters basically to connect to a PEX system that do exist that cost a little bit more. So if you see any flex lines don't immediately have a heart attack, it's kind of how they marry up. Now, more and more brands, especially up in the premium segment, have also started adopting things like brass plumbing fittings, which is like 2 levels above what the industry requires, and water shutoff valves going to each individual appliance. So let's just say, hypothetically, this sink goes ace deuce on you. Maybe you can shut off just the cold water line to that sink. You can keep the hot water going. You don't have to cripple your water system to go to your bathroom, your black tank flush, or anything like that. So those might be items that you want to look for. And I know that there's a lot of talk and a lot of concern about that out there in the industry. I really hope information like this helps you navigate with confidence and know what to look for and maybe what to avoid to provide yourself with that peace of mind. And I'm not going to custom guide you through every single entry on this list like I've done so far, but I wanted to focus first and most on the biggest, most common items and the things that will absolutely cripple your camping experience first and foremost. From there, we really start to move kind of from the inside of the RV to the outside of the RV. And that's where you start to run into warranty claims related to body issues, which usually is something like a scuffed up or a messed up decal. That's the largest amount of body issues. Some of the plastic fender trim above tires kind of qualifies in there. After that, you'll run into slide issues, which thankfully is not nearly as common as I think people fear it is. It really isn't. But the problem is when you have a slide out go down, it's a major issue for you. So it's easy for me to sit here as someone who sees thousands of RVs every year and go, yeah, statistically, only a very small handful of them ever have slide problems. But the fact is, when it's your RV and you have a slide problem, it's a big freaking deal. So, I kind of get that. But you'll notice how the list kind of really tapers down from there. But when I really got to looking at this list, I noticed the inside of the RV stuff was really the most commonly reported, and the outside of the RV stuff was reported less commonly. And I think it's because we spend more time inside the RV looking at it and interacting with it versus outside of the RV. And if you have a little ding or scuff on something on the outside, we tend to often chalk it up to must have been travel damage or something like that. So I don't think the expectation for the outside of the RV is at the level that it is for the inside of the RV. I'm not saying that makes any of it okay. I am not trying to gloss over, justify anything. I'm just trying to rationalize the stats that I've seen and how we got here. So that's all well and good. But if you run into the situation, how can you get your thing repaired faster? Step number one, document everything. The moment you see something start to go sideways or it doesn't feel right, smell right, whatever, take pictures, write down the times. One of the cool things about taking photos of things is that automatically tags the date, time, and location where that photo was taken. You have a hard record of when something was documented. Videos also, depending on the situation, can work better than just a still photo. I've seen a lot of times customers will take a picture of like a scratch on something, but it's right on top of the scratch. You have no frame of reference by looking at that photo of seeing where it is or how it is or what might have caused it. Take multiple photos or a video, start back, and then get close to the thing you're looking at. And on video, you can also explain what you're seeing, and it gives everybody a better frame of reference because you're the only person who's there to see it. It's kind of like if you have to go to a hospital, you have to be your own patient advocate because doctors are operating with a smaller set of information than what you've personally experienced. And the more that you can document and provide that, the quicker, faster, easier we can get things resolved. I cannot tell you how many times we've had warranty claims resolved saying need more photos. If we have more photos up front, we can skip that whole step and keep the process clipping right along a lot faster. The second way you can potentially reduce the amount of time that your RV is out of your possession or reduce the amount of time that you might lose camping with it is to consider the timing, the seasonality of your repair. There's an unofficially official phrase that's become adopted pretty widespread throughout the internals of the industry called camp critical. Is your issue a camp critical item or not? Like if you have a scuffed up decal or a scratch in a wood panel or something like that, or a piece of trim fell off, it sucks. I'm not trying to say it doesn't suck, but it doesn't stop you from actually camping the RV. It's annoying. It shouldn't happen. I get it. I'm a person who gets really annoyed on the principle of things myself, but it doesn't actually stop you from using the RV. So if a refrigerator goes down, if you have a plumbing leak, that is camp critical. That stops you from using the RV, and especially in peak season, when there's frankly too much work required on these things than necessarily should be at that time, the non-camp critical items tend to get pushed on the back burner. Now, if you're a person who dropped your RV off to have some wooden trim replaced, And you're like, dude, it's been 6 weeks. What is going on? It's a piece of trim. It's probably because it was deprioritized in lieu of other things. I'm not saying that's okay. I think people can understand why it is. I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just trying to explain what actually happens there. So if you can deal with that cosmetic item till maybe the end of the season, especially around here in the Midwest where I'm from, where we definitely have a camping season. Down south where you're camping more than we are, you can, it may not work exactly how I'm describing, but, when the snowbirds, sunbirds leave the south, or when you are winterizing your RV in the north and the Midwest, that's a good time to have those non-camp critical items addressed, because during the peak season, again, they're worried about refrigerators and water heaters and that kind of thing. The third way you might be able to speed things up a little bit is by essentially expanding your repair network. What I mean by that, a lot of people are of the impression the dealer that sold you your camper is the only one that can work on it. That's not true. Now, there are some states that have some very weird verbiage in their guidelines and bylaws. Like I know Texas is one that is actually really funny about having work done in certain places, but there's absolutely nothing in your manufacturer's warranty that says you only can get it done through the facility that sold you the thing. The trick is dealerships, this is a funny little industry secret. Dealerships don't actually make money doing warranty repairs. Like the auto industry, the local dealership can generate dollars for that service work. In the RV industry, dealerships, on average, will lose money doing factory repairs. That's why so many RV dealerships won't work on something if you didn't buy it from them. Now, more, especially newer RV manufacturers, are starting to make this a bigger point with their dealers. But until manufacturers make it financially viable for dealerships to perform warranty work, they're not going to change that policy a great deal. I hate everything I just said, but I'm being fair and I'm being real and I'm telling you what is, not what I wish it would be necessarily. There are other options. There's, of course, things like mobile service networks. Bish's RV, we have our RV Fix service system where it's kind of like having a technician in your back pocket, where we have actual certified technicians. Sorry for the loud tractor noise. We have actual certified technicians in a U.S. call center in Idaho, where you call in and they use the camera on your phone to see exactly what you're looking at. Now, what's cool is what we found through that service is that we're able to address and eliminate 40% of the perceived issues right there on the phone. A lot of times it's just somebody wasn't properly educated on how to use their RV. In the rest of the time, because we have pre-documented everything, we are able to already begin a warranty claim for you. And let's say you're a customer. You don't have to be a Bish's RV customer to get in on the RV Fix service. Let's say that you are you're from Florida and you call that service. Even if we don't have a local service center, even if we can't find a mobile tech to work for you in that region, we will send you all the documentation, which has already been handled by a certified technician that you can hand to anyone else to expedite your repair anywhere. So there are other ways that you can expand your service network to try to reduce your total downtime effectively. And the fourth way you can often influence and reduce your total RV out of service time is basically by asking the right questions. But I don't think a lot of consumers organically know what questions to ask. One of the first ones is, when you are on the phone with a service writer or warranty clerk, whatever the case might be, ask them if they do pre-processing. What that means is, if you send them documentation of the problem, are they already beginning a warranty claim to the manufacturer to potentially have parts on order to get them there faster so your RV spends less time down? And the reason this is important, it kind of seems to shock a lot of people. You'll call the place, you'll say, hey, I got a problem. When can I get it in? Usually what you don't realize you're asking is, when can I drop the RV off? The question that's not being answered is, when are you actually going to look at it? Because this seems kind of strange to people, that you don't realize that you drop it off and the dealership isn't necessarily looking at it in a day or two to start beginning the process, diagnosing everything, documenting everything, sending it to a warranty team, waiting on approvals. So you're like, you've had my camper for 4 weeks, you haven't even looked at it yet? Well, that's the dealership poorly communicating process and expectation to you. The question should be, when can you actually look at it? That's when I'll drop it off. But that's not the question you have to ask in almost any other industry. I don't fault the customers and consumers for running into that. I think your expectation is reasonable, and I think that the follow through and the execution from the end of the service side of this industry as a whole is not always awesome. I wish I could tell you we were perfect. We're not. I'm not trying to smoke screen you on that. There are too many, being real, there's too many examples of how we have bungled that whole process ourselves. We're aware of it. We're trying to get better. It's kind of like a 12-step process. The first step to improving is realizing that you have a problem. We're aware of it. It's not always the easiest thing to solve, but we're working on it. But if we can help educate you as a customer from the ground level, I think that we can help a lot of people, not just Bish's customers, but the community as a whole. So I hope you appreciate this today, because I don't care what RV brand you're considering. This information, these trends kind of persist across the industry, not just at Bish's RV. This isn't just Bish's data that we shared with you today. This is industry data from IDS, which is a third-party source that services the industry as a whole. We got their information and we said, what if we just shared it with our customers? And this messaging today, the idea was handed down straight from the president of Bish's RV. He said, what if we just actually tell people the real situation as to what things go wrong with what frequency? And I said, I think people would love to hear that. So if you've appreciated the message, if nothing else, just drop us a little note that says, hey, thanks Bish's for helping us out today. If this is new, like if it's the first time you've seen our channel and you want to continue to get information like this, hit that little subscribe button. We'll catch you the next time. And I mentioned our RV fix service. I'm not here to specifically plug that, but if that's something you would like to learn more about, I'll leave you a link in the video description where you can click over, learn about that. Maybe it works for you, maybe it doesn't. I'm not like a commission sales guy. I don't get paid if you subscribe to that or not. That's you do what you want to do according to your peace of mind. But I wanted to get this information out there because frankly, I was kind of curious to know like which things really are the most likely culprits. I was kind of disappointed to see refrigerators up there so high, because dang, that's every camper's got 1 or 2 of them. I've seen some RVs with 3 of those. Hopefully, if we make this information more known, customers become more vocal about what they want to shop for, manufacturers can start focusing on what to get better at. It's a pipe dream, but it's hope. You know what I mean? So if you appreciate it, let us know. We'll see you next time. Take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.